So please welcome Michael Sheen and Lizzy Caplan. So, Michael, the show is great, and for the sake of those perhaps under 30, tell us who
like
Masters, like yourself, yes. Tell us who Masters and Johnsons were and why their research was so groundbreaking.
You're Dr. Masters.
I am Dr. William Masters.
And you are the research assistant in the beginning.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So tell us why.
Well, William Masters was an OBGYN surgeon and a fertility expert in the mid-50s in St. Louis, and but his lifelong passion was to do a study on sex, which no one had done, really.
Right.
You know, actually watching people having sex and the physical manifestations of it in the body. This is why I have to be very careful about what I talk about. It's a slightly grey area.
Also in the...
Yes, exactly.
It's very revealing.
Did you guys know who they were? I mean...
I actually didn't. I feel like you've either studied them in school or you haven't, and I did not.
You lived through it.
Yeah.
They really didn't teach it in school, but it opened a whole world of sex therapists, which we now take for granted. And it happened with Dr. Masters, who was shunned at the time. That's the excitement and the mystery.
Did you know who he was?
No, I had no idea.
Really?
I guess being British, because we're very uneducated.
And you didn't need his advice, maybe.
I didn't need his advice. No, I needed a lot of advice. I mean, that's one of the sort of strange things about it is that we sort of think back to the 50s and, you know, no one was talking about sex. It was very taboo. There was no information about it. But in a kind of strange way, now we've come so far from that in some ways. Now we're just, I mean, you were talking about it earlier on about the, you know, the Super Bowl stuff and, you know, over-sexualization of youngsters, and it's become such a kind of commercialized, branded thing now, sexual. We're inundated with images of sexuality. And now it seems like one of the problems is that we have a kind of idealized version from films and TV and ad commercials and stuff. And if we feel like, well, it's not like that for me. I don't look like that when I'm doing it. I don't make that face or whatever. That there's something wrong with us, you know, that there's something lacking. And I think that's now the kind of new problem, as opposed to no information. There's almost too much of the wrong kind of information.
It also was for women. Nobody much cared if a woman had an orgasm or did or didn't and so on. And the whole business of women's... The whole business of women's sex was something that was discovered between Masters and Johnson.
Yes, they became these feminist heroes. Back before Masters and Johnson, everybody was believing what Freud said, and Freud said that there are two types of female orgasm. There's a clitoral orgasm. It's early in the morning, but I'm going to say clitoral. And that's for young girls to enjoy. And then later, when you become a mature woman, you have vaginal orgasms with your husband. Now, if you cannot achieve an orgasm vaginally with your husband, you were considered frigid, and you had to enter into years and years of psychoanalysis, and your body was broken. Yeah. The guys were all right, though.
So this all changed with them.
This all changed. Well, Lizzy, you know, Masters was this like buttoned-up married man, and then he hired the sexy divorcee, and you guys wound up having an affair and getting married. How does the relationship evolve in the course of the show?
Well, I mean, it's not quite as black and white as they have this affair. I mean, they start taking on the scientific experiments with each other. Because they think that they can handle it better, they can separate emotions from science, which, of course, becomes a bit complicated. But they carry on this research with each other for 20 years before they get married. And actually, Virginia, my character, becomes very close friends with his wife while this is all going on. It's this very, very complicated, very layered situation.
And then they finally get married.
Yeah, they get married. Divorced. Well, they get married because Virginia was about to get married for the third time, and Masters knew that would really sabotage the study. And so they get married, but neither one of them ever really admitted that it was for romantic purposes.
One of the fascinating things about the relationship was that I don't think they even knew quite what the relationship was at any given time. It kept shifting and what the feelings were, because Masters was someone who found it very difficult to be vulnerable, to reveal what he was feeling. So I think the relationship between them became a reflection of that.
Yes, and Ginny said that she never loved any of her husbands. She never married for
I
love.
understand.
That's another movie. But you have played real people so often. I mean, you played the Prime Minister. I still think of you as the Prime Minister in The Queen, remember? Yeah. But is it hard? They all remember. Is it hard to play somebody where people know what they really look like and sound like?
Well, that's part of the enjoyment of it, I suppose, that you kind of have to use that. People's familiarity with the character, or like David Frost in Frost Nixon.
I know you well, and you captured him totally.
And part, I think, of what comes with the familiarity with someone is also certain expectations and certain maybe misunderstandings about the character. And so then what you can do is you can play with those expectations, so you can subvert them. So, you know, things that people feel that they know about someone like Nixon or whoever it might be, and then you can sort of play around with that. So I enjoy that aspect of it. Now, with Masters and Johnson, it's slightly different because people aren't as familiar with the man himself or the woman.
Yeah, we didn't really have to do like direct impersonations of that.
Well, y'all are great. You have to see this show. I think you'll really sort of be knocked out by it. So we're thanking Lizzy Caplan and Michael Sheen. Masters of Sex premieres Sunday on Showtime, and we'll be right back.
Up next, we're celebrating the year of Barbara and Barbara's birthday with some superstars who were also born today.